Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I'm just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, getting ready to start my day. And, when you wake up in the morning, sometimes weird thoughts pop into your head. And as I always say to you guys, once you realize something, you cannot unrealize it. And when I first woke up this morning, trying to figure out where I was, I usually do that first thing in the morning, what popped in my head was, if oil is made from dinosaur fossils, right? It's fossilized dinosaurs and plant matter and everything else from millions of years ago is turned into oil, and we make plastic from oil. Then that means that plastic dinosaurs are made from real dinosaurs. And that's what I woke up thinking about. But next I started thinking about protein. So let's talk about protein overfeeding, because this is something you do see people here on YouTube try to say, like some of the vegans on here will say things like excess protein stores as body fat. When there's actually no real hypothetical, well, there's a hypothetical pathway by which this could happen, but it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen. The overwhelming majority of the fat that you carry on your body, no matter how much fat you have, whether you're 5% or 50%, came from dietary fat that you eat, right? That's where it comes from. Now, hypothetically, if you overeat protein, you'll oxidize protein for fuel. Oxidize protein for fuel, and it will store more of the dietary fat that you eat as fat. But you guys need to remember, you can't store more fat than you eat, really, for the most part. And that's why we need to understand why calories in, calories out doesn't always impact the exact change on the scale, right? In other words, if you added 3,500 calories of extra fat every week to your diet, you would probably gain about a pound a week. But if you add 3,500 calories of, say, extra protein to your diet, you might not gain any weight at all. In fact, that's what protein overfeeding studies have shown. That's what they show. Because now their argument, anyone would say, well, your body will, your liver specifically, will break down excess protein and convert it into glucose. Yeah, but look at the caloric needs of that. First of all, you've got that thermic effect of the protein itself. So while your energy in is the same, your energy out changes. And that's what people need to understand when we talk about calories in, calories out. What you eat affects your calories out through a lot of meaningful ways. And in fact, certain types of different calories will tend to make you just move around more, be more active, so that you just burn more calories in general. They'll affect even your energy side of things. The amount of fidgeting you do, the amount of moving you do can start to add up. Like, we know that people who fidget more burn up to 300 more calories every day. And that's because of that. That's not changing calories in, calories out. That's burning more calories. But you get that initial thermic effect of protein. Then you have an energy cost to convert it into carbs. And that energy cost is, again, something like 30% of the energy that's in the protein. So in other words, to convert 100 calories of protein into carbohydrates uses about 30 calories alone of extra energy. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And what ends up happening when you protein overfeed, the overall thermic effect and the energy turnover difference is that it ends up, when it's been studied, when people simply just add 500 calories of protein to their existing diet under a somewhat controlled environment, they end up just burning an extra 400 to 500 calories. And when they gain weight, it's a very negligible amount. We're talking like something in the range of less than 1 pound a month. Not a pound a week. Is it being like in the range of half a pound a month, something like that. It's almost non-existent, and it's not even fat gain. There's a very, very modest, very almost statistically insignificant amount of recomposition that happens. So this should tell us something here when it comes to protein overfeeding. I think some people can see where we're going with this. Protein overfeeding is a good way to eat more food and not gain fat. Well, when people say, well, different people are different, different things work for different people, people need to understand why. It doesn't mean that one person does better on higher carbs than another in terms of energy output, muscle growth, things like that. That's not what that means. When different people are different, it literally comes down to differences in appetite. What people think of as hard gainers versus easy gainers is 90% appetite and appetite hormones. People like me, perfect example, I'm the easy gainer, right? I gain body fat easily. I'm not due to a slow metabolism. I have a pretty high metabolism. I have a high metabolism. I'm very active. And you know why I gain fat easy? Because I get really, really hungry. My idea of not eating very much food could be a hard gainer's bulking calories, right? What I would consider a very small amount of food, even whole foods, is like, man, that's not very much. I'd be hungry all day if I ate that. Would be more food in some cases than these guys who claim they eat a lot, but they can't gain weight. They're stuck at 165. You know those guys. I just can't gain weight. They would look at what I eat in a day and say, I couldn't physically eat that. What my cutting calories would be that would leave me starving all day long. Those guys would almost throw up if they tried to eat that much food. That's the only difference, guys. It's appetite. It's appetite. So here's the thing with protein overfeeding. Protein overfeeding, because protein has a very high satiety, and when you add several extra 100 calories of protein to your diet, it ends up not really turning into a surplus. So for the person who's trying to recomposition, make very slow lean gains, or even lose body fat a little bit faster, who has a voracious appetite. In other words, if you've ever been fat, and I mean really fat, I'm talking anything above 25% body fat for a male, 35% plus for a female. If you've ever been truly fat, you are probably genetically predisposed to a very high appetite. It's things like your ghrelin, your leptin response to food, all of that. Protein overfeeding can become valuable for you guys. In fact, that's kind of my thing. I've been slowly losing weight without really even tracking calories. You guys know why? I upped my protein and I cut my dietary fat way down. That alone shifted my personal appetite. That's why I haven't lost that much weight. It's literally in the range of less than a pound a week. But the scale's been going down while I've been gaining strength. But I'm doing it simply by picking foods that affect thermic effect, appetite, satiety. That's it. Just food choice differences. Just food choices. And the scale is trickling down without me feeling like I'm dieting or deprived, because I'm not. I'm actually eating a lot of food. I'm just burning through it. And again, with the point, what I mean by protein overfeeding, I'm eating 250, 300 grams of protein every day. I might have days where I eat 400. If I'm really, really, really hungry and I'm starving that day, I just force myself to eat more protein. Eat more chicken breast, eat more Greek yogurt, maybe drink a couple protein shakes if I have to. Not that I'm big on protein supplementation, but just to have some variety in there and to knock more protein down instead of saying, man, I'm really hungry, I should go get a slice of pizza. Start craving a pizza or a burger, it's time to break out some Greek yogurt or some chicken breast or a protein shake if I have to, and that's what I do. And that seems to be working pretty well. So again, for the overeater, protein overfeeding is a way to control your appetite and impact your energy turnover needs, as far as your calories in, calories out. The problem we come to, what about the hard gainer? Well, this is why different things work for different people. What happens if you tell a hard gainer to eat 300 grams of protein a day? And this is one of the biggest hustles that's being pulled on these skinny kids. Oh, you just need more protein in your diet. All right, if a guy weighs 150 pounds and he's 5'9", 5'10", I can promise you that's a person with no appetite. Because I promise you that guy hasn't spent the last 4 years eating nothing but chicken, broccoli, and brown rice. They probably eat normal food. They just don't have a high appetite. That's what a hard gainer is. So if you take someone like that who can be perfectly content eating 2,200 calories of just normal food, sandwiches and burgers or whatever else, if there's someone like that can be content eating 2,200 calories of food, your typical hard gainer. Your typical hard gainer, if you put them on a 2,500 calorie clean diet, these are the guys who are like, I feel like I'm going to throw up after every meal. Right? The ridiculousness. But that's their reality. Just like me, I could sit down and eat a 1,500 calorie meal and then say, man, I need to stop before I eat another 500 calories. Because that wouldn't fill me up. Even if it's, again, you guys think of chicken and brown rice, like 1,500 calories of that inside of 5 minutes and not think twice about it. Someone like me, it's a little different. But for them, if they're full on that, what do you think is going to happen when you put them on 250, 300 grams of protein? Seriously, the hard gainer, they're going to lose weight. Because what's going to happen, you tell them to eat 300 grams of protein, they're going to be eating so much chicken breast and so many protein shakes, they're going to end up eating 2,200 calories a day is what's going to happen, right? They're going to eat 1,200 calories of protein, and they're going to struggle to get in another 1,000 calories of carbs and fat. And they're going to walk around feeling full, like they're going to throw up. And then they're going to be the people, man, I eat so much, and I just can't gain weight. I'm stuck at 156 pounds for the past 6 weeks. This training program isn't working. This is the problem, guys. It's not going to work. If you're an easy gainer, you're going to have to scale your protein back so that you can actually get foods in that will help you gain weight. Because what happens on protein overfeeding? Now they're protein overfeeding on not really very high calories. Well, that's called a cutting diet. That's called, I want to lose weight. It's a great way to lose body fat. To be very physically active, be training, eat a moderate calorie diet, 2,200. I'd say that's low calorie for an active male. And then you're eating all this protein, which we know doesn't even contribute to body weight gain at a certain point. Because again, the overall thermic effect that's suppressing their appetite. Well, they stay a hard gainer forever. That's the guy who's still 155 pounds after 2 years of training. And he just doesn't know what's wrong, man. It's like I've been upped my protein. I'm eating all this protein like I was told to do by all these bros that I need to eat more protein shakes, more chicken breast. Well, that ends up being 50+% of their calories. And these very high thermic foods, appetite suppressing foods that aren't contributing to muscle gain because they're just burning it off as heat at a certain point. And then they stay 155 pounds. And they don't make gains. And if they do, it's recomp. They might gain 3 pounds of muscle, but they lose 3 pounds of fat with it. They end up staying 155. And just they look like a skinny guy who doesn't even lift. That's a problem. This is why protein overfeeding is something that you have to really think about in terms of your goals, and you have to realize, is this going to help me with my goals or hinder me with my goals based upon where I am right now versus my personal genetic predisposition towards appetite and my overall energy turnover needs. And so that's what you need to ask. But the idea that protein overfeeding turns into fat, complete nonsense. Theoretically, when you look at it on paper, it doesn't work out very well. And when you study it in a lab, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Even though there's a hypothetical pathway in the body through which it could happen, it would be the most difficult and least efficient way to put on body fat. Right? Let's be realistic here. The best way to get fat, eat a bunch of fat and throw some sugar in with it so that you burn the sugar off for fuel. The sugar doesn't suppress your appetite as well as some other carbs do, and then you store all the fat that you eat. That's the best way to gain body fat. I mean, trying to protein overfeed to gain any body fat is actually pretty difficult. That's the hardest possible way that you can go about doing it, which means pretty much a safe way to eat for someone who's trying not to gain fat. But it's also going to be a hindrance to people who are trying to bulk and gain body weight and muscle at the same time in general. It's going to be a problem. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.